guys, welcome to this week's Friday Waffle. I was going to say it feels like it's been a wee while since I've made a video, but I actually made one last night. I did a Watch Remain Meister. We're going to look at the computer program, which was a very, very early computer program, funnily enough, by the BBC. And we're going to watch one episode, and that turned into three. Actually, a really good turnout. Really quite chuffed at how many people actually joined me to watch it. I mean, I think it was, I did it at 9:30, and I quite literally gave half an hour's notice. So it was nice to see quite a few people tuning in, including a certain Bill Harbison. Now, if you don't know who Bill is, Bill was a graphic artist for Ocean Software. So I'm going to be tying up with Bill for a chat, a catch up, and that'd be really nice. It always amazes me, when you do something like YouTube and you get people from your past, people who you were aware of. I'm not going to say famous people, but people who are quite well known, and when they appear in your channel, it's like bloody hell. So yeah, if Bill, if you're watching this, I will be in touch and we'll get something organised. Apologies if you can probably see I'm squinting my eyes because my windows are there and it's quite bright. It's actually quite dull. It was nice yesterday. So yeah, what have I been doing? I mean, I put out a few videos last week. What did I put out? I put out a it's only I put out an 8-bit face-off kerfuffle, which technically was a 16-bit face-off kerfuffle because it was God's. And by the way, I was when I was playing the SNES one, I made a comment about I reckon it's playing too fast in the emulator. But I tried it right after making the video. I actually played it, and it does play that fast. The SNES one plays a lot faster than any other versions. I mean, the 16-bit versions like the ST and Amiga do feel quite clunky in comparison, but I'm not overly keen on it being so quick. But anyway, yeah, so I did get a few videos put out. I was down in London. I went down to London last Wednesday, and I came back. I got back up into Scotland on Wednesday, just past. And I got home. I stayed at my girlfriend's on Wednesday night, and then I got home on Thursday. Had a great time. I mean, London's one of these places. I think it's a bit like New York. I think everybody's got to visit it at least once because there is so much in London. There are so many things to do. I mean, this time I was down in London. Was it October, November last year, and we did a lot of the sort of touristy things, the Madden Tussauds and all that kind of bollocks. This time, although we're down for longer, we didn't really make any plans as such. We didn't, we just kind of played it from day to day. Where did we go? Went to Chinatown, we went to Soho, we went to Kensington Palace. What else did we do? We ate a lot of food, you can probably tell from I think I've put a bit of weight on. I don't know, you probably have. Some of the food's awesome. The prices down in London though are just unbelievable, in a bad way. I mean, we went in, we did the tourist thing. We went into Harrods, had a walk about. One of the things that you'll notice with Harrods is they don't have any prices on anything. And then you come out of Harrods and there's two people begging for money. It's a bit weird. We also went to what did we do? We went to the Tate Modern Gallery. Modern art gallery. What a lot of pretentious bollocks that is, really. Now, I know people say, well, art is in the eye of the beholder, etc., all that kind of stuff. Now, you hear things like somebody like I can't remember who she was. I think she's famous. She it was an unmade bed, and that was the art. Now you could say, well, that requires no effort, but I suppose at the end of the day, it gets you talking, and and that's, I suppose, the point of art, is to get you talking, is to provoke emotions and feelings and whatever it is. But I don't mind a piece of art if the person has actually gone to a bit of effort. But some of the stuff that was down there, like I said, it was just complete and utter bollocks. I mean, there was one. It was a bit of blue canvas. It was a dark blue bit of cloth, maybe about, I don't know, 4 feet by 4 feet. That was it. Plain blue bit of canvas. And what I found staggering was there was actually people standing with their arms crossed, staring at it, and there was like seats nearby, and some people were sitting and just looking at it. And like, really? It's a piece of blue cloth. Just, as I say, utter pretentious. My favourite, however, apart from there was a bag of dirty washing. There was what could only be described as a white piece of canvas, and it looked like the guy had taken, I don't know, put a paintbrush and attached it onto a broom handle and just painted circles with this red paint, and that was it. There was nothing else to it. My favourite was a co-op receipt, quite literally a co-op receipt, framed on a wall. I'd love to know how much the gallery paid for that. It wasn't even an old receipt. I mean, I think it was from maybe about 5 years ago. And the only part that you would say, oh, they went to some bit of effort, was each of the items had the word white in it. So there was, different things, white, such and such, whatever it was. Can't remember exactly, but utter pretentious shite. maybe it's me, maybe I'm not their target audience. I mean, we were there for about an hour, and we actually got quite pissed off. I just thought, this is shit. I mean, there was a couple of paintings that actually looked good, but the rest of it was just utter garbage. So we went to Tate Modern. We also went to the Imperial War Museum. Now, we did go there when we were down in London in October. We looked at we did kind of half of it. There was a Holocaust, big section dedicated to the Holocaust, and then there was World War One. So we'd done both of these, and so when we were down last week, there's a new gallery dedicated to the Holocaust, and it is very, very upsetting when you see. I'm not going to get into the realms of politics and all that kind of stuff, but it's quite distressing when you actually read how the whole thing came about. The visit was somewhat tarnished because there was a guy. We were standing looking at some of the stuff, and a guy came in, and I thought at first he was just having a bit of a carry on, and then until I realised, I think he maybe had Tourette's syndrome. I'm not quite sure, but he was kind of flailing about, and then he would be all right, and he would be standing, watching, reading what was going on, and then he would have another kind of turn, and then he passed us, and then about 5 minutes later, I just happened to turn round to look, and the guy fell face forward, landed on his face. Now the floor is concrete, smashed his face, and then he was obviously taken. I thought at first it was what do you call it? An epileptic fit, but I think we later found out it was a seizure that the guy had taken. But the guy was actually banging his face off the ground. Now, fortunately, my girlfriend, she instantly responded. She ran across and she held the guy. She basically stopped the guy from smashing his face off the ground. I tried to kind of lift him up. I helped her kind of lift him up, keep his face off the ground. A lot of blood. Quite distressing to see that. and we managed to sort of turn him into like the recovery position. And then my girlfriend, he was kind of unconscious for quite a bit, and then eventually he came around, and my girlfriend was talking to him, and by this point there was a few other people. There was a group, a family, a guy and his two sons. They went through the guy's rucksack and they found a name, and they phoned. They spoke to his mum actually, and she said that apparently he does take seizures. So that was really quite upsetting to see. The paramedics turned up, and by that point we had got the guy. We'd lifted him into a wheelchair. So yeah, it's one of these things. It's quite a frightening thing to see, and it's one of these things you always wonder how would you react, you know. So I suppose I would like to see it had a good ending. I mean, he was in quite a state. His face was really badly cut. But you know, hopefully, I know he's not going to be watching this, obviously, but yeah, hopefully he makes a full recovery. But yeah, that wasn't very pleasant. So that was that. Anything else in London? Yeah, sorry, I completely forgot. Gaming related. I met up with one of my mates, a guy that it's funny. People talk about the internet and see how, you know, it's fully just nasty people want to scam you and what have you. One of the guys, I'm not going to mention who it is, but one of the guys, I actually sold him some Mega Drive games way back about, I don't know, 5-6 years ago on it was it eBay? I think it might be eBay or Gumtree, can't remember. But yeah, so I sold him. He bought games off me, and I think I told him that I had a YouTube channel. We got talking, and he's now a regular. He actually runs the Mainmeister high score kerfuffle, which is a competition to play. You know, get the high score. They nominate a game. I think it's once every 2 weeks. They nominate a game to play. So yeah, so he lives on the outskirts. I think he lives quite near Wimbledon. So I met him last time I was down. So we tied up again. He actually very kindly came to Camden where I was staying. He picked me up. He had to do a couple of messages. He went to pick up a CRT monitor, computer monitor, and then he also picked up a couple of games. I think it was for the Xbox One plus a steering wheel. So then we got to, I think it's just outside Hackney. It's actually, in fact, I'll tell you exactly where it is. It's the Olympic Village. There's all these kind of buildings and kind of retail places. So we parked just literally a 10-minute walk from the Olympic, where the Olympic Stadium was. That was actually really, really cool getting to see that. And you could also see the, what do you call it, the cycling arena. And I think there was the swimming part as well. Quite weird being there because, you know, like everybody else, when I watched it in TV, there was tens of thousands of people. And then, I mean, it was deserted. There was very, very few people. But a nice area of London, you know, really, really nice. I think it was they completely redeveloped the area. So anyway, yeah, we got there, and after basically walking in the wrong direction for about 10 minutes, we both thought that we each other knew where we were going until we realised I had Google Maps open, and it was actually getting further away, and I'm like, "Are we going the right way?" And he's like, "Well, I'm following you." So we eventually got there. Went to it's a pub, kind of with. I had somebody knocking there. It's a pub that's got some arcade games called the Four Quarters. Now, we did go to one of these last time I was in London. I can't remember where that one was exactly. This one, I wouldn't say it had. There was a couple of games that I liked. I mean, I'm trying to think of the games they had. They had House of the Dead, the original House of the Dead. They had a 2-player Sega Rally. They had Donkey Kong. They had some real early kind of shoot 'em up. I think it was by Sega actually, a really early kind of 1981 shoot 'em up. They had a Space Invaders which wasn't working. They had Gapless, which is a sequel to Galaga. That was a cocktail cab, quite a weird. I must admit, I'm not a fan of the cocktail controllers. Rather than holding a joystick like that, you're kind of holding it at the side and moving it. It doesn't really feel that good. What else did they have? They had a Crazy Taxi. I think they had a Tekken tournament. I can't remember what else. It says Donkey Kong. Yeah, so we had a few games of Donkey Kong. We played Gapless. It's it's evident that these real classic machines, they're so old now. They really are. They're so old that getting a hold of these machines is going to be very, very difficult to almost to the point of impossible unless you're in that kind of scene. Guys like Arcade Club, they've got everything, but they'll have a lot of contacts. But yeah, a lot of the machines you see in these kind of pub arcade places, they're not really. These games are too modern for me. I mean, I played a couple of games of Donkey Kong. That was kind of it, but it was great. It was fantastic meeting up. Lewis, I said I wasn't going to say his name, but it doesn't matter. I'm sure he won't mind me mentioning him. It was great meeting up with Lewis. So we were there for about, I don't know, a couple of hours maybe. And then Lewis dropped me off at, I think it's Hackney train station. And then I got got the train back, the overground train back to Camden. Took about half an hour, something like that. So that was good. That was really, really good. So that was kind of London, and then so we came back on. When did we come back? Wednesday. Left King's Cross. Left King's Cross at 2. Yeah, 2:00 it was. Got back to Waverley for about 8:00, and I said I went through to my girl because I went back to my girlfriend's house at Falkirk, and then I came back home on Thursday. So that was it. So yeah, it's been quite a week. It's a big week for me because I start my new job on Monday. Yeah, that's been the longest time I've had off from work for quite a number of years. It really has. I mean, I've had, I think, other than Christmas where I was off for maybe about 9 days, to have about 14 days off is quite a thing. So yeah, I've got the pre-new job jitters, which you get. It's something quite different. The funny thing is, I've actually got exactly the same job title as I had in my previous job, although it's completely different. I'm going to be managing a small team of people, which will be a change from what I did previously. For me, it's, as I say, it's a completely new industry. It's something that I'm going to have to pick up. It's going to be a steep learning curve. I actually went in to see the two guys yesterday. I went in for about an hour. I got a wee kind of brief tour of the building. Anyway, listen, I'm kind of rabbiting shite. I'm just going to look at some questions from last week. Colin Jones, Fred Gray is still with us. Yeah, apologies. I know Fred doesn't watch this channel. We're talking about David Ward, who'd sadly passed away, and I was talking about a few other people involved in the kind of the video scene that had died, and I said Fred Gray. I did, of course, mean Richard Joseph. So apologies to Fred. He is indeed alive and kicking. Colin's asking, I know you didn't live near any arcades, but what was your earliest memory of any arcades from visits? My very, very earliest memory of what we'd term an arcade it would be when the travelling fair used to come to Livingston. It was once a year. I can't remember when it was, when it would happen, what month, whatever. But they used to come to Livingston, and they had, I mean, the arcade, it was very small. They had, I don't know how many arcade machines. There weren't many, but it was really, really early. The machines I can remember was Sprint, which was the black and white Atari game. I think it had, I don't know whether it was the 2 or 4 player version. There was a basketball game by Atari. There was the Sub Hunt game where you actually looked through a periscope. I can't remember. I think there was one, is it Night Driver or something? I can't remember. There was one where you're driving a fire engine in black and white, black graphics, or the white graphics against the black background. I can't remember what it was called. So yeah, they had the travelling fair, which used to come to Livingston. And then there was a little seaside town called the Burnt Island, which is in Fife. It's about 40 minutes from here. I used to go there with my parents, and they had the same kind of early games, very early games. The first time I think I saw a proper arcade was we as a family used to go down to we used to go camping every year down to Essex. I don't know why we insisted on driving that far, but we did. And my mum and dad were not fans of arcades. I mean, my mum and dad, they were a kind of different generation. I mean, they were, I don't know, in their 40s when I was born, so they were, you know, a bit older. But they detested all these seaside resorts, whereas as a kid, I loved them. But I think we never went to Blackpool, but we did go to Scarborough a couple of times, and I think I remember going into the arcades. I also went down to Blackpool. My sister and her that then boyfriend, who's now her husband, my brother-in-law, they took myself and it was his sister down to Blackpool again, early 80s, and they basically gave us some money and says, right, away you go. I mean, it was the very, very early 80s. And then I used to go down to the arcade. There used to be a day trip to Blackpool in my community, me and my mate, and I think his mum used to go as well. You got the bus at like 6 o'clock in the morning and you drove to Blackpool, and then you got the bus back at like 6 o'clock at night. So we used to go to the arcades then. And then later on, once I became a bit older, 17, 18, we used to go through to Edinburgh. There was an arcade in Edinburgh, ALA's, it was called on Lothian Road. Used to go there. And then when I was at college at Bathgate, there was a wee arcade as well, which was actually quite a good arcade. Used to have all Rolling Thunder R-Type, Tekken World Cup, Star Wars, a few others, Rastan, I think it was. So anyway, Colin, thank you very much. Milthy Swinbuckle, hello again, Main Meister. 3 music sound-related questions for the next waffle. Firstly, do you have any favourite arcade music tunes? Without a shadow of doubt, it's got to be Rolling Thunder. I think the music to Rolling Thunder is just absolutely sublime. It really, really makes a game. I mean, I like everybody else, I like Outrun. You can't not like Outrun. Space Harrier. I mean, music wasn't a big thing in the early kind of games, but Ghosts and Goblins, yeah, the music to Ghosts and Goblins is so impressive. But I think my favourite actual track is going to be Rolling Thunder. Secondly, if the tune of a game pops into your head, does this give you the urge to sometimes want to forget everything you're currently doing and instead play the game whose music has wormed its way into your psyche? I don't think so. No, I mean, I don't really walk about humming Rolling Thunder or anything. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Rolling Thunder music is absolutely tremendous, and it's the music is a big part of why I enjoy the game. I can't say I do, Milfy. I can't say I've listened to it and think that makes me want to play a game. I do watch some video channels, and they'll be playing a game, and that'll then make me want to go and play it. But I can't say I've heard the music, I've heard the tune, and then think, right, I need to go and play that. Lastly, are there any arcade sounds that you just need to hear the briefest of snippets? Say if you were to walk into an arcade that you would instantly recognise within the first couple of seconds. Yeah, there will be a few. The scream of the girl, I think it's a girl, in Jailbreak, I hear that. There's like certain explosive sound effects. I mean, I did do a video, and it was 10 of the most kind of memorable attract screens. So Jailbreak has got a really loud kind of, it's always turned up loud. Anything I hear like that. Again, the music to Gauntlet 2, even Gauntlet 1 as well, you hear that, you instantly recognise it. Galaxian, you know, the sort of shrieking sound effects of Galaxian, that always, you hear that and instantly you know what it is. The sound of Pac-Man dying, there's loads of them. Obviously, there's a speech from Berserk. There's always certain arcade games that are louder. That's the thing about going to like these arcade clubs. The music, there's so many machines and they're all fighting for your attention. And so you don't really get to hear the sound effects as well as you would if you were playing it like in MAME, whatever. But yeah, listen, thanks very much, Milfy. LFC Gamer and Vlogs. You certainly can't go wrong with a bit of Cadbury's chocolate, even if the calories might not be your best friend. Here's another waffle question. Are there any particular songs that instantly take you back to your youth? If so, what are some of your personal favourites and what memories do you associate with them? Yeah, from an early, you know, the music that resonates with me, I mean, stuff from like a really long time ago would be stuff that my mum and dad, not so much my dad, but my mum used to listen to when I was a kid growing up, you know. My mum would be doing the housework and we'd be listening to music. Things like John Denver, Dean Martin, all these kind of the Carpenters, Mamas and Papas. They are all groups music that when I hear, you know, I still listen to even now, and it's because it was music that my mum and dad listened to, and you know I was brought up in it. When we used to go on holiday, they would play. They didn't have a thing like a cassette recorder; it was all just on the radio. So lots of stuff like that was great, but kind of more specifically, kind of, you know, computer, early 80s, whatever. Some of my favourite music was massive Marillion fan, Misplaced Childhood. When I hear like Kaylee or Lavender, any of these tracks, Meatloaf, Back with Hell, Howard Jones. I mean, I used to a lot of the time I'd be playing my Commodore 64 and I used to listen to these tracks. My vinyl, still got all these records. I've still got them down there actually. So yeah, I used to listen to these Depeche Mode, Jean-Michel Jarre. Actually, just before I forget, I was starting to hear about Vangelis passed away. I think it was yesterday. I'm not sure what age he was, but yeah, he did some truly phenomenal music. Just another wee bit of our childhood kind of ebbing away. What else? Yeah, so I would say probably, you know, Howard Jones, Marillion. These were the kind of groups that I used to listen to a lot when I was playing my Commodore 64. Obviously stuff earlier, I was massively into like the Specials, Madness, Bad Manners, all these groups. There's one song in particular, and I think I've mentioned it before. It's a song from War of the Worlds, Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds, and it's Forever Autumn by Justin Hayward. And when I hear that, it takes me right back to the summer when I would be, I don't know what age I would be, very, very young. I don't know what it is. It just transfers me right back to, the mid-70s. My mum would be in the house, probably doing housework or making the dinner, and I would be playing in the living room, and that song, I don't even really know if I got to hear that back then, but that particular song, for whatever reason, instantly when I hear it, there's like a switch getting flicked, and I'm instantly back as an 8, 9-year-old kid, and it's warm, it's summertime. I know it's called Forever Autumn, but yeah, that's probably one of the songs that evokes the most memories for me. It's a great song, still love it to this day. Thank you for the question, Mr. Dave Connolly. Hope you're having a great trip. I had an absolutely fantastic time, Dave. Mind and let me know, buddy, when I can come and annoy you on your channel. Jambon Mental. Caramax, not sure why, but I always thought there was something slightly odd about them. See also Golden Cups. Have still eaten and enjoyed my fair share though. Caramax, they've got quite a gritty texture. I wouldn't say they're really the finest chocolate, but the taste of them is absolutely sublime. I mean, you get these, is it Caramilk bars, which is like Caramac, but it's smoother, but they're just not as good as Caramax. You need the gritty kind of texture to it. And lastly, Mr. Gary Lockhart, more talking my language with your Elvis comments. Totally agree. A sit-down Q&A with him would have been awesome. It would be really good to have got his take on music from 1977 onwards. His movies were mostly repeated plot vehicles. I do like documentaries, though. Have you any favourite songs, movies, or otherwise? I mean, film-wise, in no particular order, I love the original Star Wars. Empire Strikes Back wasn't bad. Jedi wasn't bad. The rest of them were crap. No particular order. Jaws, the original Back to the Future, Planes, Trains and Automobiles, Chariots of Fire, Forrest Gump, The Green Mile. I think everybody's got to include The Green Mile. I was going to say Shawshank Redemption, not a bad film, not my favourite. I think the film that I've probably watched the most is Planes, Trains and Automobiles. Anytime I want to get cheered up, I mean, I've seen me going to watch a new film and I'll get 5 minutes into it and I'll think, fuck it, I'm going to put Planes, Trains and Automobiles on. It's a classic. Love John Candy, loved, I was going to say Dean Martin, love, Steve Martin. Probably one of my favourite comedy films. Animal House, another absolute Stonewall classic. Halloween, the original best horror film ever. Evil Dead, love all these. TV series, what did I like? I loved Auf Wiedersehen, Pet. What else? I wasn't a big TV fan. I loved I spoke about it at great length a few weeks ago. The Superstars. Stuff like that. Yeah, wasn't really a big TV person at all. Songs, like I've mentioned already, Gary. I mean, now I do listen to a lot of different music, but AC/DC, Iron Maiden, but Metallica. I still love Jean-Michel Jarre. I still listen to Howard Jones. I still listen to Marillion. I've got a really varied taste in music. So yeah, I really need to actually listen to more modern music. That's one thing I kind of don't do. So, and listen, guys, this waffle has taken me probably about 2 hours to record. I need to go and edit all the bits that shouldn't be in it. Yeah, listen, I'll hopefully be along on Sunday, 7 until 9, to do, I don't know what part it is, part 5, part 6 of the Commodore 6400 best games. And I will hopefully try and get more videos out next week. So anyway, listen, guys, thanks very much to everybody that's subscribed to my channel recently, and thanks also to every single person that continues to support it. I do appreciate it. So anyway, guys, have a great weekend, and as always, thank you very, very much for watching.